What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Eastern Current. We got a great guest on tonight. Exciting show tonight for y'all. It's going to be different. We're not talking about how to go catch this fish and when, but we're going to talk about boats and kind of the relationship that I've built with my buddy Frankie here that I'm going to bring on in a second. And boats and vessels, whether it be a kayak or a sport fishing boat, they're what allows us to get to these fish and to target them. And to kind of have an edge on the fish and the other anglers. So the boats that Frankie's building through Xplor Boatworks are awesome boats, and excited to kind of share that with y'all. And we're actually going to be bringing Xplor Boatworks on as our full sponsor for this podcast. So you are going to hear about Xplor Boatworks a lot. If y'all want to if you have any questions, you can reach out to me or Frankie, as you know. And I'm going to be moving into one of their 24 Andros boats, and so if y'all have any desire to go for a test ride or do anything like that, you can definitely do that as well. But I'm gonna quit rambling here and go ahead and bring Frankie on. So I just am talking in circles. What's going on, man?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm gonna struggle today because we talked for so long beforehand. I'm gonna be like, crap, what did we talk about before we started recording? What do we talk about after? But we'll just, if it feels good,
just talked about killing a bunch of geese.
Yeah, we did.
Fun. Nothing fishing related.
We did. Apart from boats, if y'all want to kill geese, give Frankie a call. He can definitely help you out with that. So
we only share that information in private.
I really have been itching to go shoot a bunch of geese lately. It's funny how I'll kind of work through these different cycles of things I'm obsessing about. And right now it's killing resident
geese. The same thing,
geese.
And it always is like a day late and a dollar short. Like when it's hunting season, I'm like, oh man, I can't wait for it to get to be fishing again. And then like fishing season hits, and it's starting to become, obviously with what we're doing now, building all these boats, it's becoming it's all year. Yeah. And so like September 1st is like my favorite day of the entire year since I was 12 years old. Like dove season opens.
Yep.
Like it's the greatest day. It's better than my birthday. It's better than Christmas. Like it's the greatest day ever. And for the last 3 years, like I haven't had a place to go shoot doves. And it's like I get there and I'm like, crap. Like there's nothing to go. It's just saddening. So I've like this year I made it a point. Like I missed the opening day of dove season again this year. I made it a point to like not go on social media, to not like listen to like. I knew I was going to be inundated with pictures of dead birds. It was just going to haunt me,
right?
And it just made me sad. So we went tarpon fishing instead.
There you go. That works.
Yeah, it was good.
Instagram, man, it's great in so many ways, and it sucks in so many ways. I mean, like if I wasn't a fishing guide and I had to see all these fish pictures being posted all the time, like, and I wasn't on the water, it would kill me. But also, when I have a crappy day of fishing and I look at Instagram and I'm like, dang, he got him today. I'm like, it's almost even worse then too. So,
and this year, like. So we launched our X7, our new skiff, back in June down in the Keys, and we're like so pumped. We took 3 boats down, had a house rented for a little over a month down there in Sugarloaf, and man, we were gonna like go destroy the tarpon. And I don't know what what I did bad this year to absorb the karma that I had this summer. But I'm telling you, your fishery could be firing. Like everybody and their brother there, like whacking them. And the minute that I showed up, like it was over. Like it was.
You sent them north this year.
We started the breeding migration for tarpon in the Keys this year. Like we got there and they're like, "Peace, we're out," and it was just, and we kept going like, it can't be bad for 9 days in a row. It can't be bad for 10 days in a row. It can't be bad for 14 days in a row.
Yeah.
And then it just kept going and going. But no, it's the whole social media thing is great in some regards, and it is absolutely like depressing in others.
Yeah.
When, you're having an off day for sure. We try to go through with our social media stuff and really highlight kind of everything that's going on. We've got a great guy here named Tyler Domain that works with us that has just hit the ball out of the park with capturing what we do on a weekly basis and making and showing every side of it, kind of how we build boats and all the stuff that we do.
Yeah, I kind of think of boat building like this is just a thought that just popped in my head, but I like watching YouTube videos. And so if I really like a YouTuber, at first I just want like the hardcore hunting and fishing clips But then when I really like a YouTuber, it's like, all right, I want to see his day to day, like his vlog style stuff, and I feel like that's what's done well through y'all's social media. Is it's not just like these fancy finished pictures of the boats, but it's like the backstory. It's pictures in the shop. It's pictures of the build. You're kind of figuring out the whole story of that boat instead of just seeing the end.
Well, the end can hide a lot.
I
mean, there's a lot. What you're paying for is what you see in the underbelly. I mean, you're, and that's kind of where we've tried to really be different in what we do, is, and not different than everybody by any means. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat, but our gig has been, we wanted to really build from the beginning the best constructed boat that we could build with the best materials, but find a way to like shave the cost to where we could compete with like a higher end production price point,
right,
to where it wasn't going to like break your. It seems, granted, there's a lot of people that made a lot of money here in the last handful of years, and good for them that they can go spend $80,000 on a skiff or $200 and something thousand on a bay boat. But like, I tell people that come in here, like, I want you to have some money to go use the damn thing.
Right.
Like, after you buy it, like, at least you have some money to put in for fuel to go out and play on this thing that we've built, because, we're tasked with a very unique opportunity in building boats like what we do. And it's a really awesome opportunity because nobody comes into our shop like not happy. It's up to us to like screw that up and make them not happy. But like, when you come in to buy a boat, it's bought from like 100% a place of joy. Mm-hmm. Like it's something that you've been thinking about, you've been wanting to buy. You either have one and know that like you want something that does better or whatnot, but you have this vision of what you're going to do with it, and it's different for everybody. You and I may want to go fishing or shooting birds off of it or whatnot, but like somebody else may want to see their kids skiing or want to see like any of those things. Mm-hmm. And none of them are bad. I think none of them are bad, and none of them have less value than the others. But it's our job to make sure that we can make that happen. And it's a daunting task, and it's an awesome task. But it's been super fun to like have people come in here and have different ideas about what they want to do with the boats, and push us to kind of get outside of our comfort zone and build some things, whether it be building them out of fiberglass or building them out of pipe. But really taking what we wanted to build from the beginning was like this blank canvas that didn't really limit you from doing anything, and having people come in and really take off with it and make it their own has been just fascinatingly cool for us to be a part of. And it's been a huge like affirmation of what we wanted to do from the beginning, and that I always had, I'd go to a boat show and see a boat that from the side of it, the lines look beautiful. And then you go and you peek over the side and you're like, I don't know how I'm going to use this layout or this or that to do what I want to do with it.
Right.
And, so we wanted to like really step back at the beginning and not take creative liberties with what we thought our customers were going to do, but like try to go through that. How do we make it to where the boat can morph easily into what every one of those different uses would be? Yeah. Whether it be like, okay, yeah, we built a flats boat, but it's so much more than a flats boat in the way that you rig it. I mean, you can take and make it to where it is a super technical poling skiff that's designed to go super shallow and has all of those things in it that any other high-end flats boats has. You can do with our X18, or you can take it and make it like a john boat. Like, yeah, you can throw a tiller on it and no tower, and it can be a cool color match boat to a 48-foot Sea Ray that you have tied at your dock. Like, and it's just as valuable to that person.
Yeah.
Like, it has nothing to do with us. Like, but I have things I want to do with it, and I've tried to make it where that's not the only thing that you can do.
Definitely.
And the same thing with the 24 is that we looked at, okay, yes, there's a need we need to have a bay boat type boat, but I don't like bay boats, like, personally. Like, I just think that there's a lot of things in there for how they can be used that they kind of shortchange themselves on being able to do.
Right.
So if you're going to go out in Wilmington, or you're going to go out on the beach or whatnot, and you're going to spot lock off on your trolling motor and tarpon fish or bull red fish or whatever you're fishing for, in rough conditions, you're a croaker fish. You can't stand up on the forward casting platform of any bay boat. I don't care if you're like in the circus and you're the best balancer in the entire universe.
When that spotlight gets going back and forth, you're done.
You can't stand there. I mean, you're gonna get thrown off.
Right.
And so, and having two young kids that love to do this stuff, like how do I keep them safe from getting thrown out the boat? And so having I always like how, Contender, CV, like those guys, you could really fish all the way around the boat with safe contact points in the boat. There was toe kick everywhere. And so that's what kind of led to how we have the bow section of our 24 and no rear deck in the 24. So you can take it offshore. You can, we were red snapper fishing on that boat a couple weeks ago with 7 people on the boat.
Wow, that's awesome.
No problem. Like everybody down the side, the boat's super stable. But it's enabled us to go do that, and then we could have gone back and fished a flood tide out of the boat. Like the boat only drafts 11 inches of water, so you could go we ran 50 miles offshore, ran 130 miles in the ocean, we burned 27 gallons of fuel, and then we could have come back in and driven it right up onto a grass flat and grabbed the fly rods up from underneath the gunnels and caught tailors. There's not another boat out there that caters to that need from me.
Yeah, and that's my need too. I need all that about
it. Well, I think if you're going to go spend, what these boats cost, and not just ours, but if you're going to go buy a middle of the road 24-foot boat from a boat dealership, you're going to spend $65,000-$70,000 with one that's has all the electronics and cushions and all that stuff on it. It should not leave a box unchecked for you.
Right.
It shouldn't. It's too much money. You should be able to do everything you want to do with that amount of money being spent. And it's not for me as a builder to box you in and
right.
say that you can't do it. So, with our boats being really open and really simple and the word utilitarian gets thrown around, but a lot of times that comes along with a Carolina skiffish type feel, which I'm not, I don't feel like we are that.
Not yet, at least.
Right.
You're not quite there is what I'm saying.
We're trying to figure out how to splatter gel coat better now. But it just, when you simplify all those things down, my whole thing is, okay, do you want to go, do we want to go shoot sea ducks out of this 24? There's plenty of room on the front to strap a layout boat to, and we could do that. And we could go shoot ducks in the morning, come back in, dump that out, throw electric reels on, and go out and go bottom fishing, and come back in and dump that shit off, and then grab cushions and trick the boat out to where it's got seating for 12 people and go on a booze cruise. And we could literally do all that in one day with any of our boats.
Sounds like a tiring day, though, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a long one. But I guess the point being is that I know what I want to do with a boat, and that's not what everybody wants to do. And I'm totally comfortable with our boats being able to kind of morph into that from either a guide standpoint or a, however anybody wants to use it. They want to go skiing on the lake, whatever. It's your boat. We want to build it how you want to build it.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And that's what I've seen with that boat too. And before, so I'm currently running a Jones Brothers 23 Cape Fisherman that I moved into for the reason that you just explained. Before that, I was running my dad's. At first, I was really just running a lot of 2-person flat skiff trips, and as my business grew, I needed a bay boat, so I was borrowing my dad. He had a 23 Sportsman bay boat.
Yep, boat.
Great boat. It was really good for what I was doing, but when I got off the beach and it was sloppy, the boat becomes about 4 feet long because everyone's standing right around the console. No one's on the front deck. No one's on the back deck. And I was like, this is really limits. I did a lot of albacore fishing in the fall. I have a lot of fly clients, and that was really popular. And that was just a hard boat to do that out of. So having those higher gunnels is key. And having that, I love how y'all got that front deck, but it still has some toe kick there where you can kind of have a little bit of stability. It's a very nice touch, and it's good for clients. It's good for kids. I really do like that. Tell me this: does y'all's boat is that built into the mold? The front step, is that an option to have that front deck or not have the front deck?
No, right now we're looking at doing some other. Honestly, our tooling list right now is so long, just from getting spooled up into all these other parts and building all these other boats. Right now there is no other option but what we have as far as a step up deck.
Yeah.
I wanted to do it flat deck. I have a family, but I was like, I don't care about.
That's kind of how I feel about boats too. I'm like, the boat's my boat. It's my boat.
Throw a beanbag chair in the front, and you're good.
Yeah.
But No, it has been nice. It's a huge storage box in the front. I mean, honestly, it's about a 450 quart storage box in the bow of the boat. I mean, it's humongous. So that was kind of the other thing is, excuse me, as opposed to going like all of these smaller boxes in the boat, I opted to go with just these massive holds so that you could take, if you want to go camping, like all your camping shit to fit in there. If you want to go do it allowed you to go do whatever you want with the boat and not go, there's crap all over the deck because I can't fit it in this box. I use the analogy in the shop is like, everybody remembers old Columbia fishing like the button-up fishing shorts. It had like 73 pockets on the front that'll hold like 3 pennies, a paper clip, and 17 cents and nickels. Like that, but that's all that it would hold. And like I just need a pocket, like a big pocket, and I'll take it from there. Like I got it.
I got to stick my wallet, my can of chew in there. You know
exactly. But like, so that's kind of what we did. Is that we just need the big boxes.
Yeah.
We don't need a bunch of little ones. So we've got a 340 quart insulated kill box in the floor.
Wow.
So if you can store cast nets and all that stuff in it if you're not killing fish every day, but you can also take it out and like go catch a limit of gaffers offshore with it one day, and the boat's totally capable of doing all of those things. Or you can take camping gear. It's a dry box, so that there's no deck drains that drain into it. It's macerator drained, so you can just flip a switch and dump everything out of it if you want to, from a fish box standpoint. But I wanted to have it to where I love those elements of like a 27-foot offshore center console that I like, a Contender or a CV. I really love the fact that you could open the front, gaff a fish, throw it on the floor, close it, and then like back to business as usual.
Definitely.
And knew that like it wasn't going to get beat up. There was plenty of room. Like it wasn't trying to bend the fish in half to fit it in there. And it was insulated enough to where it would hold ice for the day. Yeah. And we've worked around some of that stuff. So we've got now to where they're fully foamed. They're bonded into the stringer grid, and then they're foamed around. So you've got an inch and a half of foam over the top of about the weakest place of insulation that they have in them. But it's a nice box to like, and it opens forward towards the deck, towards the front deck. So if somebody's standing on the front deck and steps off, they step onto the hatch lid and close it, as opposed to like stepping in the box and breaking their leg.
Oh, that is genius.
So there's some of like, try to go through and think about like not just here it is, but how are we going to like live around it and work around it in the boat. And on a lot of those offshore boats, they would open side two. So like if you're gaffing a fish on the side of the boat and turn and throw it in the box, or the angler has to step back so you can grab the leader, like they're stepping in the box, and that's happened to me before a couple of times.
It's happened to me before too.
That way the box is open. If you step in it, you're stepping on the lid and it closes.
Yeah.
And you put a 65 Yeti in front of the console, and the box is still designed to open up and whatnot from there. But it's a again, it goes back to like, I want you to be able to go run offshore one day. Like, I want you to go bluefin tuna fishing on this thing. Like, we've got electric reel ports that we put in a lot of them for sword fishing. We want this boat
to do everything.
Or at least be available to. Yeah. Like, you may not want to do that, but like if you come to me and say, I need it to go, we want to just talking about run them over the Bahamas. Like, that needs to be available. Mm-hmm. Like, it needs to be able to be done. And when we get there, we're going to want to go run out to the corner or the pocket or something like that and go trolling or go do whatever. Like, it should be able to do that.
Yeah.
And, I've had that boat in some rough stuff, and I would put it up against anybody's as far as how it performs and runs. I mean, we've the last day red snapper season here, like I said, I was telling you, I had 7 people on the boat.
You'll have the same season as ours, or was yours really recently?
Yeah.
We have the same season.
No, yeah, same season. That 3-day deal in June or July, and then that one Friday, I think after that or something like that. It was kind of weird. Yeah. We fished the first weekend. I didn't fish the second round, but we ran out. We had 300 pounds of ice in the kill box. It's got a 40-gallon well in the back of the boat. We had that full. 7 people, gear, leads, 18 rods. I mean, we looked like a porcupine running through the inlet with that thing. But we ran out, I would say 127, 130 miles in the ocean, spot, kind of bouncing around. Beautiful day in the morning. Average speed's about 28 miles an hour. That's with the 225 Mercury on the back, so a smaller bit of horsepower than most of the boats in that class would require. And on the way in, like you probably get our sea breeze kicked up a little bit.
Yep.
It was, a choppy 4 to 6 feet coming in, and we're still making 28 miles an hour.
Wow.
But no, we got a little wet here and there, but still, for what it is, like crazy dry for the size boat that it was, and never had anytime we felt unsafe or really pounded. The bottom design on that thing, it's got a really big pad on the bottom that starts at the entry of the boat. So as you trim it, most boats are going to trim up. So you're just going to pick the bow upwards. With this pad, you kind of lift the whole boat vertically. So it lets you really lead with the sharpest point of the bottom, obviously being the bow. It lets you lead with that at speed. So you can run the boat really quick. And, like in a wind chop, a 3 to 4 foot wind chop, you can run 55, 60 miles an hour in it and be totally comfortable.
Wow.
And then with that 225, it's a 58 mile an hour boat with the setup that, like we're talking about on your boat, it'll be a high 50s top end speed, but like a cruise at 30, you'll be at like 5.5, 6 miles per gallon.
Wow.
Which is double what most of the boats are in that class at those speeds with bigger motors.
And that's with the Pro XS, the Mercury 225.
No, that's just regular 225.
That's just regular 225. Okay.
Yep. They don't do the Pro XS in the 225 yet. They do it in the 175, which we've
Gotcha.
We've run 175 Pro XS 200 and 225 on that 6-cylinder Mercury and had great numbers on all of them. But it's a light motor. It's 470 pounds, which is really light for that size class of motor. So it lets you do a lot with the boat. Like you could probably go pole it around on a flat. I mean, it's only going to draft about 10 inches of water with that setup on it.
I've learned to really hate my push pole. I love a Dakota. I'm just kidding. I still like pulling. I like pulling, but
the boat gets really skinny. I mean, to the point like if anybody's followed us, they've seen that white tower, that second station tower boat. Yep. I mean, that guy's had a day where he ran 50 miles offshore with that, and then ran back in and fished a flood tide out of the boat that afternoon. Like, that's not awesome. A made up story. Like, he'd actually done that. Josh Boyles, he's one of our other guides down.
It seems like these boats give people extra energy too. I'm thinking to myself, like, all right, I run 50 miles offshore and then come back in. I'm like, all I can do is get to the dock and then I'm like, I'll leave the fish on the ice. I'll clean it tomorrow. And I'm like getting back to my house. But no, that is awesome. I'm so stoked because that's one thing with the boats I've been in is I haven't had that range. So, like, tell me this: running 50 miles offshore and coming back in, like, how much gas? What is our true range on this? Like a safe range on this boat as far as burn per, like how much gas you can burn per.
I'd say if you're running 30 miles an hour, you're going to be at like a 450 mile range on the boat.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So hopefully, I mean, as a guide, you can get 4 days out of a tank of fuel before you got to go back to the dock. Yeah. I mean, to where it makes it like we were talking about before. I mean, these are somebody coming and buying a boat personally, like it's a legacy item for a lot of people. Like it's going to be something that they keep and hold on to. And especially like in some of the markets where we've been in, like the polling skiffs and whatnot, like your dream has been to have this brand of this, an old Waterman or a Whipway or something like that. Like it's going to be something that you buy and it's like a classic car almost, like you're not going to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. But as a guide, it's a tool. I mean, it's a tool just like a fishing rod, just like a water pump, just like anything else that helps you do your job. Like you are the reason people are coming there, and everything else around you is replaceable. And so for a boat, for somebody in like your position, like it needs to be thought, how is this going to maximize my ability to do my job better? And whether it allows me to make some more money to invest in this part of my business, or it allows me more fuel to where we can go further and stay out longer. Like all of those things have value to your customers and to you. It's not like just saying, well, it's going to be more efficient so Jud can make more money. Like that's great, but that's the goal. Like,
Right.
that's the goal that your customers should have for you. That's the goal that we have for you. That's the goal that you have for you. Like, because it affords you the ability to do better things. And so if we can have you a boat that doesn't require you going to the fuel pump every now and again, if it allows you to, run a day that you might not be able to run in another boat, then it adds income to you, and it adds value to you. We I did a demo for a couple of guides in Charleston. I guess it was back in January, and they were talking over like, well, I don't know if I can afford to buy a new boat right now. I don't know if I can afford the payments on this thing of what it would be. And our boats aren't terribly expensive compared to other boats in the market, but it's still expensive. Period.
Right.
And so we got to talking, and I was like, well, why'd you call me to do a demo today? And they're like, well, because we had to cancel our trips because the weather was bad. And I was like, could you have fished on this boat today? And yeah, like we ran all over damn Charleston Harbor at very high rates of speed. Like they could have easily fished that day. I'm like, well, there's your boat payment.
Yeah.
As a guide, like you have to go like some of it and think of it like a business decision. Like, is it gonna allow you to make more money? Is it gonna allow you to do this? Then it becomes a reason to make a decision. I don't know where I'm going with this, but
I know where you should go with this. Is you should start teaching a course for people that want to buy new boats but have to slowly break it to their wives, because you're really good at explaining it. I'm like, God, this all makes so much sense. I've got to buy the new boat.
Yeah, I tell everybody we bring the wives in. We do well with them, but I think I have to look at the same thing. Like,
right.
I have to look at everything that we do here. Like, I'm trying to build. I've got a demo for me to use to show. Like, if I don't have that, I can't go sell more boats.
Right.
But it costs me a lot of money to go build out this tool that I need to be able to go come up and see you, and we go for a ride, to go to all these other places and take people that are interested in our boats for a ride. And I don't just have to have one of them. I have to have one of every single model if I really want to give like somebody a legitimate experience as to what they want to buy. Because you get the rare person that comes in and calls and says like, hey, this is what I want. Here's your money, give me my boat, kind of thing.
Right. But
for the most part, like, I don't expect anybody to go spend all this money without like getting on it and going for a ride and like seeing if it works in their space. It's a big commitment that they're asking from us, and it's a big decision that shouldn't be made lightly. So yeah, I've got to do the same thing. Luckily, my wife doesn't work up here. So I don't have to pitch it to her, but I've got a handful of other people that are probably a lot more scrutinous than my wife is when it comes to that stuff, that we've got to sit down and make sure it makes sense for our business to do the same thing. But I think, for a lot of people looking at like getting into guiding, something that we were talking about a little bit before, that like it's changing now to where it has gone from, this guy's a really good fisherman and he catches a lot of fish, and so he's going to have a guide business that is Jud's Fishing Charters, and he's going to have his boat, and I'm going to call him to go do that. And it's shifting now to the getting from point A to point B and the comfort of being engaged in it is important. Like, not only from your customer safety standpoint, but from your business's standpoint. Like, do you want to have, like, you may be the greatest fisherman in the world, but if you're on, an old beater rig that the motor barely cranks and all this stuff, like, it's going to say something about your business and who you are. And having a nice boat that does the job that you want it to do and allows you to go do be the great fisherman and great guide that you are is important. And I'm not saying like that's just our boats, but I'm saying like it makes sense to have somebody's going to want to come back to you. If I want to bring my wife to go fishing with you and we get on the boat and she's got a super comfortable place to sit out of the sun, blah, blah, like, it's going to be really easy for me to say, hey, let's go fishing again.
Yeah.
And so looking at it from like those type things of, as how this is a business. And there's some decisions that you got to roll the dice on. I have to do it here every day. Like, do I think we're going to be able to do it? Hold your breath, close your eyes, and jump in, kind of thing. I mean, this whole business started in my garage. I've got the original boat taped out on the floor in my garage, and it's been a lot of close your eyes, hold your breath, and jump, and like hope that you float on the other side.
Yeah.
To get to where we are now. So yeah, it's closing the wife. It happens for everybody. It's not just you.
Right. Exactly. And my wife's like yours, very supportive. Like if I think it's a good move, she's in support and thinks it's a good move. But it's so true what you're saying as far as like how business is changing, and especially in the entertainment world of like guiding or boat building. It's like, and especially guiding, it's not like I just am guiding these people when they're on the boat with me anymore. 90% of them are following you on Instagram. They're looking at your YouTube videos or listening to the podcast, and walking these people through like, the experience of fishing with someone now isn't just like the 4 hours you have on the water with them. It's kind of like the whole relationship that they follow with you,
100% agree. And I think if it's something that you want to make long term, like some of the stuff that we were talking about prior to this podcast, like how do you take and grow your business out to where it's plannable,
right?
And how do you go out and make sure that like, okay, this year is working towards making next year better, and the next year better, and the next year better. That it is you as a fishing guide, you're charged with a pretty high task. Like, you're not only supposed to go catch these people some fish, but you're supposed to make sure that like you entertain them the entire time. You teach them about the conservation that we have to have in these spaces to make sure that there's something for them to come back for. All this stuff. It's a heavy load of things that you're charged to do when you take these people out on the water. And the same thing that like we're excited to be a part of is, but like the way that you're going to grow your business and the way that we're going to grow our business through you is for you to be able to go be like a steward of the entire ecosystem. Yeah. So like when you get out, that you point out the things that it takes days and days and days and days and days on the water to appreciate. There's that old adage of I'm gonna go catch, like I'm dying to just go catch one, and then once that happens, I want to catch a ton of them, and then kind of the end of it is I just really want to catch them the way that I want to catch them, and I don't care how many. And that happens when people are coming to fish with you, is that they're coming and they just want to catch one. Well, it's your job to show them that, hey, that it's not necessarily the most important thing of this trip. Like, let's look at how pretty it is to watch the sun come up, how amazing it is to watch all of this life unfold around us and wake up in the morning. Like, all of these things that make the trip the trip. I always laugh at, and personally, like, I can tell you every giant deer that I missed. I can tell you every big fish that I didn't catch. I can tell you all these things that didn't happen.
Right.
Much more detail than I can tell you about the biggest ones that did happen.
Yeah.
For the fact that like I remembered all of those things around. I remember the morning looked like the sunlight. All those things like I took in and remembered, and that's what made me go back. And I think there's a lot of ways to take and say, hopefully we're not educating all these people to go out and it be like, how many can we go catch? Because that's the worst mentality to have. You miss all the good stuff if that's what you're going after. And we're excited about that from our business, and that our job is to build this vessel that takes you out and makes all the adventures and things that you've seen in your head happen. Like we were talking about this a little bit before, but like when I stand at the steering wheel of one of our boats, like I see something happening in front of me of what I want this boat to go do for me. And it's not specific to the boat. It's more specific to me, that like I want to go see my two boys catch whatever they want to catch and have these laughs. And I want to see the laughs happening in front of me. I want to see the excitement, and I want to see them wanting to go back and do this because it means so much to me. Like, I want to pass that on to them. Somebody else who's 19, 20, getting their first boat, that's the last thing on their mind. Like, what they want to see is something totally different. They want to see them out with all their friends, drinking beer at the sandbar. They want to go see them shooting ducks or catching fish or whatnot. And, like, for us to be able to build that part for somebody is amazing. Like, it's awesome to be able to be a part of that. And it's a daunting task to be able to go make sure that all that happens for them and happens for them in a safe environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We build this thing that somebody can go kill all their friends with too. Like, they can cause a lot of problems. And so it's a big task. I mean, and it's a big task for like okay, we build the boat, and then we count on you to go teach how do these people interact with these places.
Yeah.
And fishing guides are a lot of people's like first immersion into something. Like you're in Wilmington, you have a ton of people moving there, especially now after this pandemic, like moving away from some of these bigger cities and wanting to find somewhere that they can, okay, life has this new meaning now, we can go get out and experience all this stuff. Boat market's exploding, like everybody's wanting to get on the water.
Right.
And their first encounter with like what are the manners of this and what are like the rules of the road typically come from them hiring somebody to go show to have this experience.
Right.
And the great thing about this pandemic is it has exposed millions of people to this unbelievable experience of being on the water. Like, and yeah, there's going to be more people crowded. There's going to be more people out doing this, and there's going to be more people being dumbasses around everywhere. And like, it's going to happen.
Right.
But like, it's our job to like, one, hopefully try to steer these people into making good decisions, but two, like, think of how awesome is it now that like there's 20 million more people out there that may want to go fishing with you. Like, there's 20 million more people that want to come spend money in Wilmington to support. They come fishing with you, they buy a hotel, they go out to eat, they buy all this. Like, the economic impact of that number of people coming into a place, and how amazing it is to be a part of that on our end of things, to where we can actually help make it better, but we can also help our families by having more successful businesses and being able to build more boats for people. It's this batch of lemons that really does have a good shot at being lemonade, and being good lemonade.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
That like we've got a chance to change that, and I think it's. You go fish with some guides in these places that get really mad at other people coming in there, and I'm like, look, you moved here,
right?
They wanted to come here the same reason you did. Don't you think it might be better to go like explain to them what they're doing wrong and be the bigger person, so that maybe they call you when this is done to go experience it again? That's what we try to do.
Yeah.
We get plenty of people that have like you that are super experienced in boats, and we get people that have never had a boat before in their life, and they crash it into everything, and we laugh about it and fix it and high five them and send them back out the door to go crash and wreck shit again. Like that's what's going to happen. But it's a pretty special thing. And I'm kind of rambling around here, but it's
I love it.
It's a special thing to be able to take something that means like the world to us, and not just like, if we sell a bunch of boats, great. If we get a bunch of people on the water from what we do, that's even better. Like, we're going to sell boats.
Right.
I'm not worried about us selling boats, but our number one job is to like expose people to this amazing experience that has molded. I know it's molded me in my life on how to treat people, how to lose stuff, how to deal with being, just depressed and beat down, to how to like get through certain, stupid as it sounds, like, taking and having the biggest fish you've ever caught, like, get off because you made a mistake, like, as dumb as that is, like, it teaches you a huge lesson.
Yeah.
And from kids, like, I'm watching my kids who are 11 and 8 and watch them go through, like, tying their own crappy knots that I know are going to, like, come off as soon as anything bites on the other end. But, like, at some point, like, they learn to tie a better knot.
Right.
And then they learn to deal with that, like, how do I get back up and get back at it again? And it's a much different deal than anything else out there in the world. Yeah. I mean, like, it's not you don't get any that. There's no sport that does this. There's nothing out there that does what the primality of this does for us being humans. It's an innate thing that we have to go capture something and harvest it and eat it and use it and honor it. Mm-hmm. And all of those things teach you so much about every part of your life, but it's something that we're supposed to do. Like, we are supposed to go collect fish and eat them. I mean, God has tasked us with managing this place and to do that and to be stewards of that.
Definitely.
And it's so cool to, like, like my kids, they don't waste a thing. Like if we kill something, it's going on the table.
Yeah.
Like whether you like it or not, like you're gonna grin and take a bite out of it and stomach it down. But like there's no other place that they learn that. There's no other place that they learn that food doesn't come from the grocery store. That we're in charge and we can be good at it or we can ignore it and be bad at it. And for them to see it on on our boats and to be able to like promote that through them is like, it's awesome. And it's something that that our job is to do. Your job and my job is to make sure that if people are going to get into this, that we expose them to that and teach them the right way to do it. But otherwise we have nothing to bitch about.
Right.
Like you can't sit there and complain that somebody's running over their jet skis doing this or all that stuff. Like you can be mad as hell at them, but at the end of the day you can like choose to just be mad or like go have a healthy conversation with somebody about why it messes you up for them to be doing those things.
Right.
And I try to have the healthy conversation.
I know.
I've been in a couple places where I haven't, but I try to.
I think everyone has. And that's the tough thing about it. I mean, if you didn't know anything about fishing, I was thinking about this, the jet ski haters, and I do too. I hate jet skis in the Keys. But it's like, all right, if you didn't know anything about tarpon fishing or flats fishing and you're on a jet ski, like it's a beautiful spot to ride the jet ski. You don't realize. But then as soon as they mess you up, like it's so easy to say it, and then somebody comes and like messes you up and you're like, you son, oh my God. It's just easy to.
Oh, we went down, since I missed the opening day of dove season, I went tarpon fishing instead, and we ended up catching 2 fish down here in South Carolina on Saturday. And the second fish we caught was in a place where nobody would ever think to go tarpon fish. And
those are the best ones.
Oh, yeah. And you hope nobody rides by and sees you hooked up with one. But we're sitting there, and the fish just airs it out and goes to jumping, and there's a boat, like the cruising, like a boat full of these guys' family, like running down the river, and the fish, like, I'm trying to wave them away. They have no idea. They think I'm waving at them, so they're all waving back, and the fish like airs it out and like misses the side of their boat by like 10 feet, like jumps right at them. They immediately bang a U-turn and drive like right up to the bow of the boat, which is where we're fighting the fish off of that they just saw jump. And it was a lot. It took a lot for me to just be like, hey, y'all mind coming around the back? Like, you're welcome to follow around as much as you want from like behind the boat, just so you don't mess up the line. Cool with that? And they were totally stoked.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
They followed us around the whole day and watched us catch this fish, and we're screaming and yelling for it. It was awesome. Then shortly after that, I had some dude about run me over and ended up cussing him out in front of my kids and looking like a total idiot. So I'm like a total both ends of the spectrum.
You sound like me.
Yeah. But it's definitely better to go at the first way. I think those people now will, if they see somebody fighting a fish, they'll definitely won't drive up to the front of the boat.
Yeah, now they understand. You've done away, instead of when they see somebody fighting a fish and they're like, oh, screw this person, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go, do donuts around him because the last guy was a jerk. So, yeah, educating in a humble way. It's easy to like sometimes try to educate too in a way where you're kind of belittling a person, and that's almost the same as, which is usually the route I go, because I can tell myself and feel good about it, but really I was just still kind of being a jerk. But I can make it okay in my head. So.
Right. You can validate. And I do still hate jet skis. I will stand by that statement for a long time.
I don't like jet skis either. I don't like them either. But I can't wait to see what y'all do to compete with the new Sea-Doo fishing jet ski.
Yes, that's definitely high on our list right now. Lots of development, R&D work going into that right now.
Well, with that being said, what I wanted to capture in this is people, understanding who you are as kind of the head of Xplor Boats. Because I think when building a boat, people underestimate how important it is to like the company, like the person you're working with, like the story behind what Xplor Boatworks is. But also, let's just tell people real quick the boats that y'all have, like if they're interested in it, because we've got a large spectrum of different types of anglers that listen to this podcast. So kind of go through y'all's different boats.
I will say, like, kind of to get on your comment of like our culture of our company, like I've always from the beginning of this I've said, like, we're an adventure company that makes boats. Like, we're really fortunate to make that we didn't get like successful making t-shirts. Like, it's good that we had a product that was carried a big enough price tag to where you could really go do some cool stuff with what it funded,
Right.
with the fuel that it gave us, so we could go do some cool stuff. So that's kind of where we've been from a mindset going from the beginning, is that, that's who we are. We are all avid users of the product. And we all have a lot of hours on them, and making sure that we just provide the best experience we can for our customers is like vitally important, and don't really care what boat you buy.
Right.
Like if you come to us and we help you make a decision, you go a different route, man, I'm just stoked you got on the water, and I'll go fishing with you on your boat whenever you want to.
Yeah.
Like the zero problems there. But we started with our X18, which is the boat when we met however many years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, and you saw the first boat we ever did. We've got that skiff, which is our X18, which is still one of our best sellers, and it's an awesome little boat that will always be a value proposition for us. It will always be affordable. It's made with the best components that you can get. It's 100% vinyl ester resin. And it's fully infused. Every part's fully cored. So it makes the boat really, really rigid and stiff, but still keeps it really light. And you can set the boat up kind of however you want. You can build it in stages. You could take and say, okay, I only got this much money right now. I'm going to build a tiller, bare bones version. And then next year I'm going to buy a console and a pole and tower, and it can completely convert to that boat, without any work.
Wow.
Like everything's done the same. I did love that about Carolina Skiff, and that you can build them out however you want to. And so I really like that aspect of how do we make a boat to where we're not cannibalizing itself. If we come out with something new, it's come out and it's been able to be added to that particular platform.
Yeah.
So the X18 can be rigged up as a tiller boat with nothing on it. That power trailer, out the door, you're looking at like $23,000, $24,000 for that boat. Or you can do it up to I think our most expensive one today, it's like $41,000. That was all carbon, bait tanks, every electronics, the whole 9 yards. So it runs the gamut of price through there, basically based on accessories. You can spend as much money as you want when it comes to lithium batteries and trolling motors and electronics and power poles and all this stuff.
Right.
It adds thousands very quickly. So from there, we've got a new skiff that we just came out called the X7, which is a 7-degree, more higher performance running surface. It is in no way a souped up X18. We've had a lot of people ask about what's the difference between an X18 and an X7. Our X18 is a small horsepower. It's a 60 horsepower max boat, 70 horsepower max boat. It's not designed to go super fast. It's designed to carry a bunch of weight, draft really shallow, and be affordable. The X7 is a kind of jump up in category in that it's got an option for 4 live welds in it. It's got hatches all over the back seat. It's a full carbon boat, or our carbon laminate schedule. It's a padded running surface that with the 115 will run high 50s, low 60s speed pretty consistently. It runs really well in big stuff. It's a big boat. It's 18.6, but it poles like a 16-footer. All of our boats, from a poling standpoint, are phenomenal. I know I'm supposed to say that, but and having a bunch of other guys get on the boat and push it around, that's been one of the comments, has been that's probably one of the better poling boats I've ever pushed. And they're super quiet. That's one of the things that's been really important to us, is to make the boats like ninja quiet, where they don't make any noise. So all our skiffs do that. We've got another 13-degree bottom that we're working on right now that'll follow along in that X7 family of things. That'll be called the X13. Same top side, same cap, same liner, just for guys that are looking for a more aggressive bottom. Redfish tournament guys or tarpon tournament guys, that boat will be available. You can run it with up to a 150, and it'll be a mid-70s speed boat if you need it to go that fast. But it's a badass bottom. I'm super excited about that one.
Heck yeah.
Working on that one for about 2 years, and a lot of testing, and it's phenomenal. We're just getting ready to tool it probably next week, so that'll be coming out here pretty soon. And then the 24 Andros. Andros is a really special place. for us, and that the first Xplor Project film series was shot in Andros, which is why that boat got named that. And it's a really special boat for us, just because we really wanted to check a lot of boxes. It was kind of our statement boat, and a boat that we're gonna, if you look at the numbers of what's gonna sell, like, you're gonna hopefully sell. That category has a lot more buyers out there for it than a technical polling skiff. So as much as I love skiffs and messing with small boats, these bigger boats are probably the future of Xplor and what we do. So that 24, it can be run with a 175 and no T-top or anything. You can get in that boat for in the 70s with trailer and power and everything. Or if you want to go to, you can run a 450R on it if you wanted to, and it'll run 90-something miles an hour, which we haven't built one of those yet. But,
Kill your face back fast.
Yeah, absolutely. But you can run it with just the console. It's got a really big console in it, which I love. We had caught some heat for that in the beginning before people kind of got in and out of the boat and used it. It's got 60 inches of headroom inside the console, so from a day-to-day use standpoint, like if anything happens with your wiring, which it's going to regardless, I mean, you're beating this thing around like stuff's going to come loose, you can sit on a 5-gallon bucket in there with your toolbox and see every bit of your wiring.
That's one thing for myself that I've said, if I ever get a different larger vessel, but you can't really do it much. I mean, you can have good access with a skiff, but you can only have so much access. But I wanted a full door on whatever console and whatever boat I ever had, to be able to get in there, and because wiring in saltwater, I mean, you're going to have issues with it.
Yeah, and I'm not a contortionist or a small person,
right?
So fitting in in these places, I hated the fact that you couldn't see everything. So when we went through and laid out all of our chase tubes and all that stuff for this boat, there's only one area where your wiring and stuff is in somewhere you can't touch both your hands together. I mean, there's a 5-foot chase tube from the console back to the lazarette. That's a 4.5 or 5 inch PVC pipe. So there's tons of room in there. It's not like you're trying to pack a bunch of crap through a small piece of pipe, but you can, everywhere else you can see, you can open the back boxes, and there's some videos on Instagram we walked through this boat. If anybody wanted to see what this looked like, they can go check out. But you can open the jump seats in the back and lay your eyes on every single through-hole fitting, every outlet, every through-hole fitting, every outlet. You can lay your eyes and you can lay your hands on just by opening up a box. So, being able to kind of go through your pre-day punch list of kind of the oh shit factor pieces of the boat, is water going to stay out? You can do all that in a real quick deal, to where you can see all that stuff. And if you got to replace it, you can get to it really easy. All of our batteries are in the console, so everything's above the waterline. All our power steering pumps, power pole pumps, any of that is inside the console above the waterline in the boat, so that there's never, there's a very small chance any of that stuff would get wet. And if it does, it's got some ventilation where it can dry out and get fresh air to it. And then you can stand on top of the console. The top of the console is the same width measurements as our polling tower lid. So it's big enough to where, on your boat, where you're not doing a tower or T-top to start with, you can easily stand up there and run your trolling motor. Yeah. So if you're cobia fishing or sight fishing, you can easily jump up there and kind of guide your customers to what they want to do.
Definitely.
And then for our tower options, second station, it's you're standing on the console, so there's nothing to impede your vision. For anybody height wise driving the boat, there's never going to be anything in their face to be able to keep them from operating the boat safely. And you can kind of skip up into the tower real easy. And with doing that to where it's not super high like your boat, but you've got a gap tower on yours.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a full tower.
Yeah. It gets a little crazy in the ocean trying to run that thing in some rougher stuff, just because your cantilever point's a lot higher.
Definitely.
So with our second station, it's only about 12.5 inches taller than our T-top profile. So the boat still stays really stable in the water. You can run it offshore in the tower in the ocean without feeling like you're riding a bull or something like that. And and then our next progressions up from there is we'll do a 27-foot version of our 24. That'll still be single power preferred. It can be run as twin power, but with these outboard motors coming out these days, there's some really big motors. Single power run these things they'll run them fine. Trying to get a little more width out of the boat, and a little bit higher gunnels for that like true hybrid of a boat that would let you like run on. I say hybrid from running offshore to running inshore, not just like going in the ocean or not, but like where you could take and have it to where it was a decent offshore boat.
Yeah, like someone could buy that boat just to fish it offshore, or they
Correct.
could buy it just to fish it inshore and do the same both ways.
Yeah, but it would give them it would give them a little more space. It's funny when when I'm 42 years old, and when I was 20 getting out of school, like an 18-foot boat was like the shit. Like, that was like, dang, that dude's must have got a good job because he bought an 18-foot boat. Now it's a 24-foot boat.
Right.
And when I was in college, like, man, if you had a 24-foot boat, like, you were the man. Like, you were, that was the big rig. You were going to run offshore, and like that was a big boat. And now 24 is like the entry level stuff for a lot of people in buying a center console, and they're really comfortable driving 28 to 30 foot boats. It wasn't like this big learning curve from like going from an 18 footer to a 24 footer was a big jump. Now it's kind of whatever. So I think that 27 will be a really good boat for us. Price point wise, that'll probably fall in the 160 to up range. As far as there's a lot more stuff that can go on these boats. It's amazing. And people always ask, what does that boat cost? It's like, well, that's kind of a loaded question because you can spend $60,000 on accessories if you want to, like quickly, not like having to try very hard. So, the bigger boats are going to be a little more expensive, and then we're gonna do a 30. It'll be a 31, 32-foot catamaran offshore boat. I'm really, really excited about that. That gets me back to kind of my roots of things and the offshore side of stuff.
That'll be sweet.
Excited.
What is the time frame for the 27, and then what's the time frame for the cat?
We'll start those. We've already started kind of the drafting process of drawing up the designs and getting all the hulls kind of conceptually laid out in CAD. And then we're hoping to start cutting the molds for those in January. I mean, it'll be a late next year thing for probably both of them. We're targeting to kind of start having some boats hit the water in May.
Cool.
So like, hull one will hit the water in May, and then we only have like through the middle of next year, probably one a month being built.
Gotcha.
So we're gonna have to. We're building a new building here to accommodate that. We don't have big enough doors or any more space here to be able to build those boats.
That'll be sweet. What is the motor situation going to be on the 32, 33? Are you going to be able to accommodate 4 motors on those boats?
You could, but I don't think you're gonna need to.
Yeah.
I mean, my goal has always been to like try to make something run the best it can be with the lowest horsepower that it can be, and then the bigger ones are going to be fine. But like if you can, I'm ideally hoping that you can run that boat with twin 225s, but you could also put like twin 450s on it, or you could put 3 200s on it. It's going to be set up for the twin setup. And with us being able to infuse everything and build it, it'll be a little bit lighter. It has the capability to be lighter. We're kind of working through all that right now. But my optimal power plant on that boat would be kind of that V8 block, 250 to 300 setup for most people, or 350, maybe 250 to 350, with it being able to hold a pair of 425s or anything under that.
Gotcha.
But I still think that my goal has always been how can we do more with less? How can we do more with less horsepower? It changes the price of a boat considerably. If you're talking about needing like on that 27, if you can run the boat at really good speeds with a single 300 versus twin 200s, you just shave $20,000 off the price of the boat. I mean, it's substantial. So being able to try to work around some of that stuff is things we're going through right now.
Yeah, sweet. Well, man, is there anything else you think you want to share about y'all's company, about yourself, about your story, like anything? We're right at an hour, so I usually kind of wrap it up at an hour.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just if we try to be our best versions of ourselves here. And if you're looking for a boat and what we make, we'd love to tell you what we do.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of pressure to buy a boat from us. We've been very fortunate and humbled to have people, to task us with doing that, to build them a boat. It's a big project, and it's something it's a labor of love for us at this point. And it's just been awesome. It's something as a kid I'd always dreamed. I always drew boats when I was little and all that stuff, and have been a part of being on boats since I was a little kid. And to be in this position, and to meet the people that we get to meet, and to hang out with the folks we get to hang out with, I'm just kind of just pinching myself that a lot of this is real. That just super thankful to be in the position that we're in, and I don't say that cliche-ishly, or if that's even a word, but it just means a lot to me.
Yeah.
It means a lot to me to be able to do this stuff, and it's stuff that we are really passionate about. And if there's a boat that we make that is something you want to chat about, man, give us a shout. But I got yelled at yesterday for just sitting and hanging out with somebody too long here at the shop. We're here. We're excited to talk boats, and man, we're just give us a buzz.
Yeah, definitely. I will say, for those of y'all that are listening and not watching, Xplor is Xplor Boatworks. So I've got that as a lower third here on the video, but it's at Xplor Boatworks, Xplor Boatworks on Instagram. And then y'all's website is just xplorboatworks.com, right?
Yep, correct.
Cool. So yeah, y'all can go check stuff out there. And check those boats out. They're awesome boats. Every single one of them is sweet. So, man, I really appreciate you coming on here and doing this podcast. We've talked about it for a while. I forget what crunched us last time. I think one of us I had to bail for some reason, but I'm glad we're getting it done now. So we'll definitely have you back on. I think we should kind of continue to do this as you come out with a new boat or something like that.
Yeah, and once we start on your boat too, showing that thing, showcasing it along, doing some walkthroughs, like FaceTime walkthroughs and stuff like that.
Yeah,
we typically try to, when anybody builds a boat, we try to keep them in the loop through the entire build process. It's like building a house. At the beginning, it's super quick and all this big stuff is happening, and then it gets to when the roof's on and the walls are up and you start wiring the thing, it looks like nothing's happening for a long period of time.
Right.
So we go through the same thing here, and that the big stuff we try to make sure that we share with all of our customers, whether pictures of it through the build process, when the hull comes out, when the lining, all those things get infused and pop out, kind of those milestone things happen. We shoot those out. So we'll definitely make sure that we do that with your boat too, so you can see kind of that whole thing coming together.
Yeah, definitely. I'll have to come down there too and plan on doing some videos of the building process to put on YouTube so people can see that and kind of follow along and
absolutely
kind of see the heart of the whole boat. But man, well, thank you so much. And guys, I'm gonna finish this one up. Thank you all for tuning in. Oh, that camera froze up, so I'm going to go back to this. Thank you all for tuning in to this podcast, and as always, just check us out on YouTube. You can check us out on iTunes, Spotify, all these other areas. If you are a listener on any of the podcast platforms, go check out our YouTube channel, because we've got these podcasts in video form, but we also have some fishing videos, a lot of tackle tip videos and stuff there. Be sure to subscribe there on YouTube, and we will see y'all in the next one. Later.